Innervibe show on Essence Radio. This is Yas Alexander. That's all.
I think we should just talk about the gun thing, yeah? What do you reckon? Let's talk about the gun thing, yeah?
Awareness.
It's wrong, isn't it?
What did you just point at?
Good evening on Sunday, the 16th, is it? Yeah? 16th of December 2012, 5 days before the end of the world.
Oh, right, yeah.
dear.
Awareness, Brother Haru.
Yes.
Brother Haru forgot that the mics were on and he started talking.
Yeah, because it came to me in it about the gun laws in America.
Okay.
How appropriately, I mean, for the show, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
We did say we're going to talk about racism.
Yes.
I think gun laws and in particular of what just happened in Connecticut in America.
Wow, yeah.
But anyway, we'll get into that in a bit, innit?
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah,
first
welcome
of
to
all,
the Innervibe show on Essence Radio. You are with our host, Brother Haru, and co-host, Roslyn Blue.
What are we talking about today, then?
Well, we're going to be talking about the criminal justice system. Possibly a bit about racism, because I think...
racism within...
within the criminal justice system. Well, in the justice system in general.
Yeah.
And also we have a guest over from stateside. She has definitely an interesting story, actually. I'll just introduce the audience to it. So basically, the lady that we have on today is Barbara Bradley. And in 1966 in Detroit, Michigan, her brother Demetrius, who was 20 years old, went into a shoe store and basically stole some money, ran 3 blocks, and I think the guy who was actually working at the shoe store, I'm sure Barbara will tell the story in more detail, but basically the guy from the shop chased her brother Demetrius, and then 3 blocks away from the shop, it ended up in basically an altercation, and gunshots were fired, and unfortunately Demetrius ended up killing the guy the victim. But since then, Demetrius has done 46 years in prison.
It's a long time, isn't it?
It's a long time, and he's a changed man since then. And back in 1966, it was a different time in America. Also, he's tried to right his wrongs. He took full responsibility for the murder of the victim, and he's even opened up a scholarship program in the victim's name.
Yeah.
And
which Barbara will.
Which Barbara will talk about more. So and also Demetrius has got heart problems and he's in prison, and Barbara will talk more about it. I mean, it's better from her, really.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
But
because you could go on, can't you, Roslyn?
Yeah, I can. But like I say, Demetrius is he's a different man from when he was 20 years old. So the question is, does he deserve to get out of prison? So let's talk to Barbara in a while, in about 15 minutes, I'd say, and we'll decide.
Yeah. But let's talk about what happened in Connecticut.
Okay, so give us a brief thing of what happened.
That's an interesting thing. I haven't really delved into it too much, but what I've been hearing is that 26 people died or got massacred.
Okay.
Yeah. Was it 27? Okay. And at least 21 of them were children. Is that correct? Yeah.
Wow. And was it just a random man going into the schools and shooting?
Apparently so. Was it two? Was it two of them?
Wow.
Yeah.
The first few reports.
Okay.
Okay, because what I've been reading online is that basically there was a school teacher in that school. I don't know her name, but she basically hid all the children in the cupboard or the closet. In the closet. And then the gunmen came and she told them that, the children are in the gym, but they shot her. But by them shooting her, she basically sacrificed her life and protected these children.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was a serious situation, definitely. And also, another report I've been hearing is apparently Obama was crying.
Yeah, that's what I heard, but I heard it was like, it seemed fake.
Yeah, well, I mean, what a lot of people are saying is, okay, Obama is crying over the deaths of these children when he so easily, at the snap of a finger, orders drones into places like Pakistan, Iraq, Somalia, and kills hundreds and thousands of innocent children daily.
Yeah.
So.
What about the children there?
Yeah, what about them?
You know, not to belittle what happened in America.
No, of course not.
The children there, the children all over the world who are dying at the hands of the United States and this government's foreign policies and so forth. Do you know what I mean?
And this is the justice system that we live under.
This is the justice system, yeah.
Where there's actually no
in
justice.
In a nutshell, yeah. There's no justice, just us. You know.
Yeah.
And the people need to get together really to investigate more what is really going on behind the closed doors.
Yes.
It's very heartwarming though, you know, that story you told about the woman protecting the children. You know, if we could have more of that emotionally, mentally, here in this reality, you know, this world would be so much better place, and you wouldn't get people like this 20-year-old going into schools and doing mass killings like that, you know. One event like that is enough, and there's been quite a few of them over the years in America. I mean, America. There's something wrong somewhere, isn't there? And we need to take a closer inspection, really.
Definitely.
I mean, and it's apparently they're saying that he was a victim of mind control.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many reasons as to why. Antidepressants.
He was on antidepressants. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. There's a lot of things that people just don't look into, though, isn't there? So we definitely have to look into it. I mean, we spoke briefly to Barbara, and there's definitely something twisted about the justice system, and I'm sure when Barbara explains the story, you know.
I mean, because it's similar, isn't it? Whether it's in America or here.
Yeah, definitely. Just to tie like racism into all of this as well. I wouldn't say racism I can say racism.
Yeah, you can.
You can't. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but I've been doing some research online, and in prisons and stuff, and from apparently a report in the Guardian, I think it was 2011. Apparently, it showed that basically African Caribbean or black offenders were 44% more likely than white offenders to be sentenced to prison for driving offences, 38% more likely to be in prison for public disorder or possession of a weapon, and 27% more likely for drugs possession. Asian offenders were 41% more likely to be sent to prison for drug offences than their white counterparts, and 19% more likely to go to jail for shoplifting. So that's some quite interesting figures right there. Now I'm thinking, surely it's not.
And that's UK.
And that's just in the UK. I haven't, to be honest, I didn't really do any research into the ethnic minorities in prisons in the US.
Let's see if Barbara has any
statistics. But it's quite interesting because I remember discussing this in school actually, And some people were arguing, and the argument was, is it because they're black, or is it because they're ethnic minorities, or is there another reason? And someone actually brought up something really good, especially, when, obviously in this country, a lot of people who get stopped and searched are of ethnic minorities. Mm-hmm. Now, one of the reasons this could be, and it's not because of the fact that it is because of the fact that they're black or Asian that they're going to prison. It's also because police are more likely to stop and search them because of the colour of their skin.
Yeah. And let's face it, racism does exist.
Yes. Whether you want
all levels of society.
Yeah.
Especially in the police force. And
yes.
Especially in the justice system.
Yes.
We can butter it up all we like.
Of course, definitely.
But, the realities are there.
Yeah. And even just in general, people are more likely to trust a white person than a black person.
Yeah, even black people are more likely to trust a white person.
It's like we were discussing.
In some cases, we discussed this the other day.
We discussed this the other day. Like, say for instance, we give like an information, right? Like, say for instance, okay, yes, there is now a new star sign of Fucus. Mm-hmm. Now we say that to anyone, and they will say, "Give me proof," but they're not just asking for proof. They're saying, "Give me proof from the white man."
Yeah.
Who told you that?
Because Raheem Artep came on the show a few weeks ago. He was one of the guys who discovered the actual Fucus, wasn't it? A couple of years ago or so. Fucus, yeah. I could never say it.
Yeah.
A few months, a couple of years ago was it?
Yeah, can't remember when, but yeah.
And there's not been much hoo-ha about it. Mm-hmm. But as soon as you say, the establishment, who are controlled by rich white men, let's not sugarcoat it. Yeah.
And by all means, this does not mean that me and Brother Haru are
racist.
No, of course not.
Definitely not. Of course not.
Yeah. Just stating facts.
Yeah. Where were we?
Yeah. Just because, it was the Times and CNN who brought to light about this a few
That's right. Yeah.
And then everyone started making a big hoo-ha.
Yeah. And people will start making up a big hoo-ha if, especially if BBC, Sky News jump on it and so forth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or it appears on EastEnders, or they mention it on X Factor and all this garbage, you know what I mean? So that's definitely when things become popular. That's when things become the truth.
Yes.
In brackets.
It's quite interesting. So I think we're gonna call Barbara in a bit.
Yeah, we'll go to a break first.
Yes.
We'll go to our usual
music break
ritual on the show.
Yes, and I kind of need a drink. This time I don't need to go. Anyway, let's just go to a break.
No, go on. What was I going to say?
I don't need to go to Lou this time. I need to have a drink.
Okay.
And probably later on in the next break, it'll.
Do people really need to know that?
Well, exactly. You said to say.
Did I just be raw? Innit? Just be natural, innit?
Anyway, let's just go to a break.
Shall we?
Yeah, we'll go to break and then we'll call Barbara in.
We should do, shouldn't we?
Yes.
There was pleasure and pain, but all that remains is the bad and the sad. Cause there's so much we had, besides all the tears that just washed away years. I long for the days, it comes but it never stays. I hold on to memories, but I try to hold on to you. I wanna hold on to you. Try to hold on to you. Baby girl, just you. Yes, just you. Don't know where we went wrong. Was good when we started, then things got retarded and left us broken hearted. And did we carry on too long? Since we started as lovers, so good under covers, girl. Did we keep love above us, girl? Now even when you're near, I keep feeling resistance, like your heart is a distance away. When we couldn't stand to stay away too long from these embraces provided. How I hate how we hide it now. I sit here and desire it now, more and more. There was pleasure and pain, all that remains is the bad and the sad. Cause there's so much we had, besides all the tears that just washed away years. I long for the days, it comes but it never stays. I hold on to memories, but I try to hold on to you. I wanna hold on to you. I try to hold on to you. Baby girl, just you. Yes, yes, it's you. Can we give it one more try? One more try. Revisit the moments when your thoughts were the warmest. So if I had it back, I would hold you so. Oh, dear to me, yeah. Dear to me. Realize I was lacking all the time and respect that is so essential to have this here. So let's place these memories away. Let's work on the future. Take a piece that will suit your needs. Every step is a move to please. Oh, I just really wanna love you the right way. Give you all that you're asking, new levels of passion. Let the past be the past and just enjoy what you're having. There was pleasure and pain. All that remains is the bad and the sad. Cause there's so much we had. Besides all the tears that just washed away years. I long for the days. It comes but it never stays. I hold on to memories, but I try to hold on to you. I wanna hold on to you. I try to hold on to you. Baby girl, just you. Yes, yes, it's you. The words that you heard ain't just for your ear there. Aiming at your heart, you push fear to the rear. I'm looking for the love that used to be there. It was so special, so special. That's why I'll be focused if we try things again first. And foremost, you are my best friend. And I am for real, no need to pretend. Let's be careful, so careful, so careful, so careful. There was pleasure and pain. All that remains is the bad and the sad. There's so much we had. Besides all the tears that just washed away years. I long for the days. It comes but it never stays. I hold on to memories, but I try to hold on to you. I wanna hold on to you. I try to hold on to you. Baby girl, just you. Yes, yes, it's you.
The Innervibe show on Essence Radio. This is Yas Alexander.
Sesso.
Yes, that's what it said. No doubt. Yes.
I forgot the artist who sang that song, but I know it's called Pleasure Before Pain.
That's right. Eric Roberson.
Who?
Eric Roberson.
What?
Roberson.
Eric Roberson.
Yes.
Pleasure Before Pain.
Yes, beautiful tune, beautiful tune. Yeah, we're going to bring Barbara in shortly, but there's now a gun debate in America.
Okay.
You know, as always when a mass shooting takes place, they're going to bring that banning the gun law in. I mean, it's odd because in a country like America, that they are quite civilized, really, because a lot of people do have guns.
Okay.
And if they weren't civilized, there'd be a lot more shootings than there is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think people, in most cases, use it either in self-defense, or if they feel threatened, or hunting, and in some cases, desperate.
Okay, the argument is though, should we really have guns? Really?
Well, we don't here in England, do we?
Yeah. Should guns even exist?
Well, you could argue it's not the gun, it's the person behind it.
Yeah, but they wouldn't feel tempted then to shoot the gun.
In the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And then people would argue, yeah, but we have a gun because of self-defense, but no one would need to defend themselves if nobody had guns.
Or defend ourselves with our fists.
Exactly.
Or sharp objects, what we use.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
So,
I don't know, it's a tricky one, but I personally wouldn't want to keep a gun. Unless that shit hits the fan, yeah? And, you know, there's no means to an end.
Yeah.
And they all come in, and there's a rebellion about to start or something. I've been reading this book, you know.
Oh, no.
But, I mean, this is slightly off topic, but this book actually made me realise that, you know what, we don't know how to fend for ourselves. If basically, say for instance, all the electricity goes and all that, I don't know what kind of plants are edible in the forest.
Yeah, for real.
And stuff. So I went and ordered myself a book. but that's for another show.
Yeah, but it's deep though, because you know what I'm saying, things can happen at any time. Look what happened in New York.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And that could be on a mass scale.
Yes.
Yeah. Are we prepared?
No, not at all. That's why I bought this book to prepare myself. So
I mean,
you lot, so like, you know, my spiritual family, you all can follow me into the forest,
okay,
and I will be able to feed you lot, and I will know which mushroom is not poisonous.
Oh, thank you.
But anyway, let's call Barbara in.
I'm right by your side, no doubt. But you know, hope for the best, prepare for the
exactly
worst.
Yes.
You know, but before we do call Barbara in, I didn't finish because you went off on a tangent again, as you do.
Okay, yeah.
You know, about the gun debate, and it's funny how people, and it's good. I'm not knocking it. People come together when something happens. It's fantastic. Me personally, I would like people to be more proactive rather than reactive.
Yeah.
We have a problem in society where we wait for things to happen before we do something about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, we have to take another look at this and be more proactive. Do things in your everyday life which can change the situation.
Yeah.
Which is currently happening.
But
you know,
we've said this before, isn't it? It's almost like for the masses, it's gonna have to take a big catastrophe for people to wake up, a real big one.
Yeah.
And I hope it doesn't get to that point where we have to.
That's unfortunate, really, isn't it? It is unfortunate.
Definitely. But yeah, let's call Barbara in and talk more about the case of Demetrius L. Favors. I think that's how you say his name.
Okay. You're forgiven.
Okay, hold on. I've got it sorted.
Okay.
Hopefully, like, you know, we did do a sound check before with Barbara, but you know.
Hello, Barbara.
Oh, no, it's ringing. It's finally ringing.
It took a while to ring, didn't it?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello?
Good evening, Barbara. How are you doing?
Good evening. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you very much.
Thank you. Fine, thanks. You're actually live on radio now.
Yes, you're live on the Innervibe show on Essence Radio. Live
thank
in
you.
the UK.
And I just want to say to both of you and all to your listening viewers, I want to tell you I thank you for the opportunity to be able to put my brother's calls out there and be involved in the conversation that we're going to talk about this evening.
Definitely.
No problem.
Okay.
Our pleasure.
Yes, Barbara, to our listeners, I did say a brief story about Demetrius, but I would like you to actually go into more detail about it because I don't think mine would suffice, basically.
Okay, well, in 1966, this is my oldest brother. In 1966, we grew up in Detroit, Michigan. And in Michigan, that was a very hard place to live. You know, at one time, it was known as the murder capital of the world. You might be familiar, there was a time period where they had a big riot there.
Okay.
Once they had that riot, that city completely changed and basically went downhill from there. There's a lot of lost jobs, you know, jobs that were sent overseas. There were a lot of education opportunities that were missed for a lot of people. So the city is really, in fact, I believe that they have said the city is bankrupt as of today. So that's been going on for a long period of time. At that particular time in 1966, you know, we come from one of those families where life was pretty hard. You know, I remember growing up and us not having a refrigerator for 2 years in a row. And the way that we were able to survive was we would put our food on the back porch in the wintertime to keep it cold, and we would go daily to the stores for hot dogs. And, you know, that's the type of life that we led coming up. We didn't know any difference. And at that time, education was not something that was placed upon our household. I'm not saying that it was not placed on other households. I can only speak from our household.
Yeah.
But during that time, my brother, he had just turned 20 years old, and he happened to go into a shoe store. And it's a shoe store that we catered prior in our life, I'm quite sure, when we were young kids. And He happened to have went into that shoe store to pick out a pair of shoes. And the man who was the manager of the store, who was 50 years old approximately at that time, went to the back to get the shoes. In the meantime, my brother was still waiting out by the counter and happened to see a little satchel that had probably the night before a count of money that was put in there or whatever, I'm not sure. But it was sitting out on the counter. This was in the daytime, just when the store had opened. And he reached for that satchel. The man came out. My brother had already hid the satchel, I believe. And he was confronted about the satchel. And then my brother showed him that he had some type of little pistol with him. I believe the man may have thought it was a toy. You know, I have no idea what was in his mind. But my brother then had the satchel hidden. He fled out the back door of the store and started to run. He ran through approximately 3 blocks. It was 3 blocks from the store. And the manager chose to chase him those 3 blocks. He was chased for those 3 blocks. After the 3 blocks chased, my brother was caught. There was words that were spoken about returning the money in the tussle. And the gun went off, and 1 shot was fired in the man's abdomen, and approximately maybe about 3 hours later, he passed away. And the next day, my brother was picked up, and that was in 1966. And he's been incarcerated 46 years since that time. During that time, any altercations that he may have had in prison all had to do with fights at the time in his earlier years. Mm-hmm. As a young man, you know the type of terrors and things that can happen in prison, including rapes and different things like that. So his altercations in his early years always had to do with fighting to survive. Mm-hmm. Once he had the opportunity to understand what prison life was going to entail, he knew then that the only way he was going to be able to get out of that situation is through education. Because when he went in, he was a high school dropout. He's one of, just like these kids today, at-risk youth. When you don't have that education, you have a hard road in front of you.
That's right.
So while he was in prison, he took advantage of programs that, you know, were actually fought for during that time. You know, better food, better conditions, better education, instead of just housing inmates. And at that time he was convicted, you know, like I said, within the 60s. We know in the 60s that the majority of judges during that time were older white judges, you know, Caucasian judges, who pretty much handed down harsh sentences. In today's time, if you think about it, in a circumstances like that, you would probably be surprised if someone would get 46, 50 years in prison under circumstances like that.
Yeah, I was a bit shocked when you mentioned it was like he got he's been in prison for like 46 years now.
He's been 46 years, and they don't want to see him again until 2015. So we're looking at pretty much 50 years as someone that's almost turning 70 years old.
Wow. So is that the sort of sentences they were handing out back then?
Yes, those were the sort of sentences. You have many lifers. This is, like I said, my cause is, you know, this lifer cause. You have many lifers who were put in prison in the 60s who have been rehabilitated. We're not talking about the people that may go in today or in the past years who go in on a rotation system. Yeah. They put them in, they come out, commit crimes, go back in, they bring them back out, more crimes. It's just a rotation for them. Yeah. We're talking about these lifers who are hitting 70 years old, who are not a threat to society, who have a support system, and for whatever reason are just being housed there. So my question behind my mind, why are you housing someone that has been rehabilitated? Which makes me connect to the fact that a lot of prisons now are being privatized. And when I say privatized, I'm speaking of, I'll give you an example. Say I'm the governor and my friend has a food corporation. Okay, and I tell, and the inmates during that time wanted better food. well, I'm not going to serve you better prison food, but if you want better food, then my friend has a food company. Well, then I'll give my friend that contract, and if you want better food, you have to buy your food from that contractor, which is my friend. So my question is this about the money and you losing revenue or losing income by allowing people to be released who should be released? Because right now, personally, we support my brother in sending funds every month for him to eat better, for him to be better in his health since he's not getting the proper medical care.
Okay.
Wow.
But for them to release him, they would lose that money each month.
Yeah.
So I'll give an example. We send him $300 a month. Now, if you time that times a year, and then times that times 2 years, times 3 years, times 4 years, that's a lot of money.
It is, yeah.
In order for someone to eat better in prison, if you want to eat better, so, but you're supplying that company with funds. Now you time that by how many inmates? And we're not just talking about foods. If you want to call home, that company is given to a privatized company friend, and the phone bill is outrageous.
Yeah.
And usually the people that are paying for this are your family members that are back home who really can't afford that. For me, if my brother, which I know that he is, and you know that he is, as that facility, that institution, that Michigan Correction Facility, you know he's rehabilitated, why would you keep him there when those funds could go to someone else in a scholarship form, or help them through a school, or help some young man from being able to go down that same path?
Yeah. Wow, that's well, I mean, that's in a nutshell, really, isn't it?
Definitely.
I didn't realize it worked out like that, but you just explained something to me which has really put things into perspective.
Yeah, because, like I said, he was one of those inmates that fought for better food, that fought for inmates to be able to, call home. He was in that battle to have better conditions, in spite of the crimes that you've committed. Because even though you have all different levels of crimes in there, but the fact is that he fought for those conditions. Now to take the fact that they have a right to have some of those, where some people may feel they don't have a right if you committed that crime, but to say that you now have these in place, and now to take what they have in place and say, well, we're going to make money off of that, so let me give my friend, this contract in order for him to, sell you food, I think is a crime in itself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's oh dear.
Because there's been talk about this for a while, and a lot of the prisons in the UK are getting privatized.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But now
that's what it's all about. Yeah. But this is the thing about it. You're privatizing where you can make money off of the food, that in order for the inmates to eat better. You're privatizing it to companies where they can call home and talk to their loved ones, okay? You're privatizing that. But you're not giving them better medical when it comes to their health.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why aren't you, because you can't make money off of that. You see what I'm saying? Mm. So you got inmates in there who are old and dying and not getting the proper medical care. There's an incident that happened on one particular inmate, and I'll give you an example, but this inmate was in an institution in New York. He had been incarcerated, I believe, for 20 years for armed robbery. This is how the story was given to me by relatives of theirs. And they just walked into his cell one day and said, well, we made a mistake, and, you've overstayed being here, so we're just going to go ahead and let you go. He didn't have any kind of hearing, didn't have any kind of parole or anything. They put him in a van in New York City, dropped him off in New York City, because later he found out he had cancer. So obviously they didn't want to treat the cancer issue.
Okay. Wow.
So there's a lot of back and forth on my brother situation. Now, this is, like I said, and I've asked for an explanation, and no one wants to give me an explanation because there's not a reasonable explanation from an individual with common sense that you can give back and forth to each other. Here my brother has his bachelor's degree that he obtained in prison. You have a bachelor's degree. You have a job offer. That's a job offer. These are all things that they have document on and they see. You have a job. He has a job offer. You have a state, which he was in Michigan, and he would.
Yeah. Sorry, Barbara.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have a place in which is Texas, who had a parole person come out to the house, who inspected the house and made a report. We're more than willing to take him, transfer him to Texas, which is where my husband and I live. Yeah. It's a good environment. They have a place for him. He's not going to be a financial burden. You have all this stuff in place. He's been in prison almost, like I said, we'll be going towards 50 years before you want to see him again. Mm-hmm. Why would you not release that person? Why would you keep that person in there? Mm-hmm. Like, what would be your motive? Yeah. Other than maybe the fact that you have an income coming in at $300 a month from his family that allows him to have better food so that he can at least stay healthy while I'm still fighting for this battle in order for him to be released. Mm-hmm. And I also, in turn, many years ago, upon my brother's request, contacted the victim's family to make that apology, you know, to put out there, you know, and you know, we've done that, and even in the relatives, one of the comments that they made was that, you know, the father should not have chased him. But whether he chased him or not, the point is that the man died. That he takes full responsibility for. Yeah. But yeah, so it's not like he's not taking responsibility for that. But this is not someone that cold-bloodedly went in and killed and murdered someone. And I say that because of this. Here I am, I'm a sister. You know, I don't have a big lawyer fighting my battles. I don't have anyone to go in there and fight my brother's cause other than myself. Mm-hmm. But I did understand this, that they are releasing some people who have actually decapitated people, put them in trunks, and cold-bloodedly did crimes and stuff like that. Yeah. But the difference was they had a lawyer. And the difference in that was that the lawyer that was representing them used to be on the parole board. And yet they got paroled. Okay. Wow. Where my brother didn't. Because I don't have those type of guns and I don't have that type of connection. You know, I'm not a celebrity. I'm just a sister. You know, a sister who was a little girl at that time. Yeah. A sister who knew what the living conditions were in Detroit and, you know, in the home that we lived in, stuff like that. And I just believe and feel with all my heart, and that's why I've been fighting this battle all my life as I became an adult, that he deserves that chance. He deserves that chance to be able to be placed back in society. He had a vote from the parole board that said he was not a threat to society and that he should be released. And for a governor to say no, and when I asked, can you give me the answer to that? Because if you tell me what we need to do in order for him to get released, like what have we not done? And for you to say, I can't tell you that, or I'm not going to tell you that, what kind of battle am I fighting? I have no idea what kind of battle I'm fighting now, because you won't let me know what the rules are. You won't tell me what else we need to do, because once you have your degree, a job offer, a place to stay, not a financial burden to anyone, and have 3 heart valve leaks, have COPD, which is a lung problem, and refuse to allow you to see a specialist on that. Now, I don't know if there's, you know, viewers, I'm sure you know viewers who have relatives who have heart problems. Yeah. If you have a heart problem and you say, I'm treating you with some pills, you still need to see your doctor. Yeah. You know, you don't want to not have seen your doctor in 5 years or your other medical problems in 10 years and stuff. So this is what I did. I wrote a letter, and as I'm saying, this is what I've been dealing with. I wrote a letter to the warden, and I asked the warden to allow my brother to see a specialist. He has 3 heart valve leaks. I mean, if you're not going to release him, at least treat him, because we had said, you release him, we'll take on the financial burden of him seeing a heart doctor, whatever surgery he needs. But if you're not going to release him, then you need to go ahead and treat him. So I wrote a letter and I said, my brother has not been seen for this heart valve leak in 5 years. He has COPD, haven't seen that in like 10 years, you know. And he's having these issues from the past that are still reoccurring or getting worse here in the future. So I sent that letter off, a respectful letter to them. And this is how they handled that letter. The way that they handled that letter was that not only did they tell him that he was not going to see the specialist that had to do with his lungs and his heart, but they moved his medication time back 4 hours. So instead of him receiving his medication at 4, which was his normal time, they moved his medication time back to 8 o'clock, where he would have to wait in a longer line in a colder weather. Now, anyone with common sense to look at that would look like that would be retaliation on a letter that was sent. But for me, I don't give up. Anyone that knows me know that when I fight a battle and I know that it's a worthy cause, you're not going to dissuade me. I'm going to continue, and I will continue to knock on your door until someone listens and they make some kind of change. So I sent another letter off. Is this your solution to my first letter, to push his medication time back and still say you're not going to get him a specialist? I will give your office ample opportunity to rectify this particular situation. And then I will have to try to go in a different avenue and try to get that resolved. I'm military, prior military. I'm a disabled vet from the Vietnam era. My husband's a retired military man, and my son served 2 tours in Iraq. He medic who flew on the helicopters with the Marines to go to the front line to stable, the young men that were in war and stuff like that. The reason I transferred over to the war issue was this. I feel I'm qualified to make this statement. I might get a lot of flack on this statement, but I'm about truth and I'm about reality. And my thing is this. I have a relative who, during the time, went to Vietnam. He was trained by the government. The government gave him a rifle and some ammunition. The government put him on a plane, and the government sent him over there to Vietnam. Okay. My brother went into a store. He fled the store. A man was shot and a man died. Now, the thing for me is this. In both cases, those individuals had mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, wives, children. Yeah. Grieved for a death. You know what I'm saying? So I can have now, I live in a military community. I definitely, and I see these young boys, 18, 19 years old, walking around, and they have 5, 10 deaths on their belt from being over there fighting these wars. But they get a medal put on them. But the family, whether it's our members who have passed away or the members on the other side who have passed away, that's still a death in the family. Yeah. That's still a grieving process. But, you got these young men nowadays who are coming back who, unlike my brother, he's in there, he's had 40-something years to deal with what he's done and cope with trying to make amends on the action that he's taken. But you got these young soldiers that are coming back who have 5, 6, 7, 10 deaths under their belt being in that war, who now have this post-traumatic stress disorder, who's coming back walking your streets now. Yeah. And a lot of them aren't getting counseling. And this is what you're going to be dealing with in the future. Yeah. So my thing is this. For my brother to come in El Paso, my concern would be, will he be safe here versus them being concerned if the community is going to be safe? Yeah. Because we've had a lot of young men who have committed suicide who have not been able to cope with that war. We've had a lot of shootings within the base areas who have not been able to cope with what they've experienced over there going overseas. Yeah,
yeah. And not to mention the social problems that are faced in the community anyway. Yeah.
Well, what I see popping up a lot is this. A bunch of minimum wage jobs in order for people to try to work at those jobs and stuff like that. Like, there was a period of time where my son himself had to get 2 part-time jobs in order just to make a full-time job. Yeah. And one of the choices he had to make, like many people, especially minorities, and I'm speaking of blacks, Hispanics, the minority that Latinos, we're speaking of that area, who have to join the military just to make a decent living. You know what I'm saying? They can't afford college. They may not even be college material. It might not make you a bad person if you're not college material right now and stuff like that. But that's the avenue you have to take. So when I go up to the military installation, because like I said, I'm a disabled vet, I have a military ID card. I'm also, like my husband did 22 years in the service. So we cater up to the base. To see these young boys, 19, 20, look like babies with uniforms on, getting ready to fight just in order to be able to get a decent paycheck, because you can't survive off of that minimum wage paycheck. But yet, when I go up on base and I attend the PX, which is the clothing store, or I attend the commissary, which is a food store, to see the prices that are aimed toward the military that are there, it's totally ridiculous. You want to charge 2 and 3 times more than what an average store would charge off of base. Right. So it's like it's a no-win situation for them. You go in to get that decent check, but then what you pay for on base is 2 and 3 times more than what the average. So you're basically giving that money right back.
Yeah, and it's the whole situation. Your brother being in the penal system, and the kids being in the army. Yeah. It's all about money. The bottom line of all of this is about money.
Yeah. What I see is this. You have the military, and then you have like this prison. Those are money makers that I know for a fact and stuff. And like I said, I feel like, I don't know how a lot of your viewers will feel about me speaking on certain things like that.
Go ahead.
But as a military family, I get to say that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because I want to fight for my country, you know what I'm saying? So, and my husband went to go fight for our country, and my son is still in fighting for our country. So that might be unspoken things, but I see it, and I know it to be true from what I'm seeing. You know, I'm not trying to hide behind, well, I'm military and I'm patriotic. I went in, the same reason a lot of the other people went in when I went in the 70s was because I wanted a better life and a better opportunity because it wasn't within my community. Mm. I had a minimum wage job at the time and stuff like that. However, going into the military, during the time I went in, and marrying someone that were also in the military, our life changed in a way because we worked together to make a life for ourselves and stuff like that. Yeah. But I had always told my son that I preferred that, he not join the military. My son walked in one day, shows you what kind of influence I have, and he told me I signed up for 5 years to be a medic. This was during, the Iraq, war and situations going like that. So as a mother, the only thing I could do is leave it in a higher power and let him go and do the work that he wanted to do. But my son wrote many letters to me while he was over there and said, Mom, I'm seeing young kids with their legs blown off, head damage. Remember now, he's on a helicopter evacuating these people from the front lines. Yeah. And having nightmares about that. You can't do stuff like that and then walk the streets of El Paso the next day and feel like you're okay and you're fine. Yeah.
Especially if they're not getting any sort of therapy or help or counselling or anything of that nature to help them through what they've experienced in a war zone and coming back to a so-called civilized peacetime.
But let me tell you about this. You know how young men are, especially young black men, young Latino men, Puerto Rican. Yeah. They don't want to admit, let me go get some counseling. That's just the reality of it. Maybe down the road when things start getting difficult, like heavy drinking and different things like that, drugs or whatever might get involved, then when you hit rock bottom, you realize, okay, that's what the connection is and stuff like that. Yeah. But normal young men, 19, 20, 21, do not want to go in about some counseling. They feel like, oh, I'm fine, I'll get over and stuff like that. But you don't get over taking people's lives.
That's right.
Or seeing your next comrade next to you, their life being taken and stuff like that. Yeah. So, like I said, my whole point behind that was this, is that just like when I went up to my brother's public hearing, and I sit there and I talk to the people that were in charge during that time. This is what I told them. Because of what happened to my brother, and me being a young girl, I was a young girl at that time. because of what happened to my brother, I made it a point to never allow my son to play with even a water gun. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was me as a mom, because I realized what had happened to my brother. I'm like, I'm never gonna ever let I told my, you can't even play with a water gun. I don't even want you having anything that's like a toy in your hand or whatever like that. And my son respected those wishes. So I was one of them type of moms that was overly cautious when it came to him. Mm-hmm. But listen to this though, when he went in to be that medic, which is what his job was, Navy medic that flew on the helicopters to go to the front lines and evacuate them, the first thing that they did was hand him a gun. So he, of course, was trained in the medical field, but they handed him a gun and he went over. And that's the first time he had ever in his life had any type of weapon in his hand, and the government is the one that handed it to him.
As if nothing. Dear God help us. I'll tell you what, you know, this...
I hope that what I'm saying, because I'm throwing a bunch of different things in there, makes sense in what I'm saying about these inmates that should be released. Everybody shouldn't be released from prison. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm saying, but you have people in there who have been rehabilitated. And my point is this. If you're going to give somebody the opportunity to get a degree and they have a bachelor's degree, I think now you're under the obligation to allow them to be released. Yeah. Because then you shouldn't have took that taxpayer money and paid for that degree.
It's just making a mockery out of everything, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, because I have a daughter who right now is obtaining her PhD. The entire time from her getting her associate's to her bachelor's degree, she was able to get that through scholarships and the work that she did in the community. Yeah. We're a big family on reaching out and doing for the community and doing that. But in her getting her PhD, that itself is a loan. That's a debt that she's going to have to pay. And I believe right now the debt's going to be about $60,000. Yeah. So she didn't get a chance to get her school free other than based on her grades of her academic work and her volunteer work and getting scholarships and stuff like that. Yeah. But for an inmate, and this is not about, but this is my view on the inmates getting a degree. Unless you're going to release them for them to be a good citizen and a member of society, why are you giving them these degrees?
Yeah, yeah. Just to say that they've done something positive, you know, right. It's oxymoronic. It's really odd. But it's understandable because of the system that we're living under. It's the whole system is flawed. Yes. And it's only designed for money making. Right. That's what it's designed for.
Because what you're showing with my brother, if all this is in place, this is now not about rehabilitation. Because my parents only had him up for 20 years. You've had him for 45, 46 years. Yeah. So what does that say about what's going on? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And right now, like I said, we definitely, under my brother, this was many years ago, you know, I'm the type of person like this. Like I said, me personally, I'm one of these wives and mothers that I'm the foundation of my family. And the way I say that is this. I don't have a college degree. My husband has a college degree. My son has a college degree. And my daughter has a college degree. For me, like I said, based on where we came from, how we grew up, that was not something that was implanted in me. If I had to go back, I wish I would have had that type of support system that, you know, my members of my family, you know, have, you know, right now and stuff like that. But so for me, when I look at young men, especially young men, that's the part that, you know, touches my heart. Young men who had no choice on the way that they were raised. Like, you don't get to pick who your parents are when you're born. Yeah, yeah. You know, and usually it's the type of situation where if your mom was an alcoholic or your dad was an alcoholic, then you become an alcoholic. You know, you find other ways to try to cope with the way you live. You're raised up in that, and you don't know any different until probably you leave from that and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. For me coming up, so I knew the kind of household we came up in. Yeah. And you know, so for me, I could easily, like I said, my husband is a high school teacher. He's been teaching for many years, and he teaches at the high school level. So he's is involved with this program because what he found is at the 9th grade level, and where he teaches is a Hispanic community, which is, of course, one of our minorities. He teaches at that level. So they have found statistically that dropout rates were higher at that 9th grade level. Mm-hmm. So he's basically teaching at a level where it's a specific school where he's trying to catch them so that they don't drop out. Because I know personally, even though I'm not a college student, but I have like my children, my husband, and I was there from day one to the end of it for all of them to finish and complete what they were doing. I know education is important. Mm-hmm. But you shouldn't have to get an education in an institution.
Yeah.
You know, and because that's the only opportunity you were able to get an education. So we set up the scholarship. You know, I would love to do the scholarship for those A students who, you know, they're doing everything perfect. That's what my daughter, that's how she got her scholarship. But I come from a place where I know that's not always realistic, and sometimes that scholarship has to go to that kid who doesn't get all those A's and who people aren't willing to give scholarships to. Yeah. So that's where my money I want to go to make them be able to have a chance to change their life. So while my brother is incarcerated, he ran across this young man who had went in at the age of 19 and had not even had a GED or whatever. So on one of his other, you know, fights in this prison system, you know, he sat down, he mentored to this young man and told him, look, you know, and this, my brother's a lifer. This is somebody that's going to have the opportunity to go back out in society. And he tells him, you know, get that GED. You got to start somewhere. This is a kid who told me the story. I've never met him in my life, only talked to him on the phone twice. He told me, he said he comes from a family where they didn't have clothes, they didn't have anything. He was never indoctrinated into, you know, education is the way to go and stuff like that. Until he's in prison and a lifer has to tell him, you need to get that education if you want to get out from under what you're under. Yeah. Because the guy was making more money selling drugs on the streets than he was, you know, to feel like he can go and be a school teacher like my husband is, or you know, to be a medic in the medical field like, you know, my son was, as far as what he was doing. He doesn't know anything but the street life. And so my brother sat down and look, you know, you don't want to be me sitting like how I'm sitting here for 46 years, you know, trying to get my freedom. And so under my brother's guidance, this young man went and got his GED while he was in prison. And my brother told him, you get this GED, once you get out, you'll get the scholarship in order for you to go ahead and attend college. So, you know, what we did is that we put funds to the side each month until the young man was released. He was released maybe about 2 years later after he was picked. So he got that, and he was just, like I said, released about 2 or 3 months ago. He got that 2012 scholarship under the victim's name and will be attending school in January for the 2013 year. So we set up a $5,000 scholarship for an individual, and each semester they get like the $500 until the school is over, if it's a year school or whatever the school may be. And we want to continue that. We want to continue, like after we finish with this school, that we can go ahead and pick up another individual. Yeah. Okay. But you shouldn't have to have someone give you a scholarship when you come out of prison in order to change your life around. You know, those things should be in place prior to you going to prison.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know,
and it does. It starts from the grassroots, and we as the community have to implement these things, because we can't wait on the so-called powers that be, the government, in order to do things, because they're not for our best interest at all.
Like we've discussed before, they're just in it for the money, aren't they?
Yeah. And we're going to take a short break, but after the break, we'll come back and discuss more on that money issue and more on how you think your brother can be released, really, because that this is an important issue, really needs to be touched on. So when we come back, we're going to end this call now and then come back in about 5 minutes. Is that okay, Bob? Yeah?
Right,
okay. Okay.
Thank you, Barbara.
Okay.
Wow.
The Innervibe Show on Essence Radio. This is Yak Alexander. Professor.
For the world. My name is Common, no ID. Ferrari testers, Armani dressers, exquisite thick bitches and body blessers. Rest assured, we getting festive in Miami now. So my nigga, yeah, I'm about to win the Grammys now. Getting Johnny Cash, old white folks know me now. Staying close to the mic like I'm COVID now. We celebrate the shots of the hate because we got love. It's the pop life. A lot of faces pop up. Known the 10 club and the block of. Going through the airport with more live than an opera. New crooks who move books like Harry Potter. Get cleaners to get it cleaner. A legend like John Lennon, I'm a dreamer. Try to fuck the world, she only let me finger mine. Trips to Medina to visit the Redeemer. A hero, I'll jump out like Hiroshima. Off Sangria with 2 bronze and La Esquina. Still opening roads for Moya and Amina. I'm a dreamer. It's for the world. Yeah. Dream on. We make paper and build skyscrapers. Walking on water, building my faith up. Niggas with no heart, I'm the pacemaker. Get the beat from no eye, feel the pulse of the child. Survival of the fit with hope in their eye. Taking notes from the sky to fly above understanding. They notes from the most high, so I gotta land them. Career ain't random, make anthems, streets chant them. Rock rolls like a phantom, mad hoes like they throwing tantrums. I tell them I need space like Richard Branson. Dancing with wolves and stars, getting full at bars. And then pass out like a pamphlet. Never taking grants for granted. It's common, I'm high above standing. Fly nigga, keep my feet planted. To rock the planet, I don't stop or panic. Maybe I'm a hopeless hip-hop romantic. I'm a dreamer. For the world. Yeah. Yo, this what happened. He introduced me. I stepped to the podium, said peace, give thanks to the Holy One, put my water up, thought about my daughter for a second, the youth, the living resurrection, reflections of the sun glaring through the window, now the audience, staring at my mental, feeling like the world is at my fingers, about to speak to an auditorium full of dreamers, kinda took me back to when I first had a dream, to be like the king, the same Billie Jean, now it's gold records and I'm on silver screens, at the mountaintop, you still got a dream to the dreamers. Yeah. To the dreamers. Yeah, it faded down. We gon' bring it back. Bring that beat back. It's for the world. Keep on. For the world. Keep on. Hey yo. Y'all the dance to us. Keep on.
should just come here. If I wake you up, only difference is you can live the dream. Just believe in me.
Once you find your shoulders dropping and your speech gets slow and hazy, you'd better change your way of being before you found your brain got lazy. You can build a better future when you join the winning team. If you desire a bright tomorrow, you must build a brighter dream. Dare to let your dreams reach beyond you. Know that history holds more than it seems. We are here alive today because our ancestors dared to dream. From Africa they lay in the bilge of slave ships and stood half naked on auction blocks. From Eastern Europe they crowded in vessels overloaded with immigrants and were misnamed on Ellis Island. From South America and Mexico, from Asia, they labored in slavery.
You don't have to listen to this. Let it sip into and drip into your subconscious mind. Check. Who's on top? I'm the king of hip-hop. Planet X, crisscross, fuck it. If I was pop music, I'd be the king of pop. I still on triple digits, rap music with spirits, spitting, writing lyrics like hieroglyphics. I'm holy like the papyrus papers. I'm the holy land like Jerusalem. No, I ain't Jew, I'm Congolian. Fuck the Gregorian calendar. I calculate cycles using galactical monitors beyond astrological symbols. Non-physical pictures. I speak to celestial people, communicate. I still projecting, injecting the bogus plant into my system like the solar system. I can see the sun's rays projecting like my third eye lenses. I got 6 senses spitting in tangles, riddles, DNA victuals from the producers. I'm the reflection of the Nephilim. I just downgraded my physical appearance. My voice may cause interference. I'm in tune with the pharaohs. I had a meeting in Cairo inside the pyramid, speaking to Kush with the sounds gave in the clues. My spirit chose to meditate, listen, do between two in two. The zone zoom into in tune with 7 spectrum zoom within the throat chakras. Colors begin soothing, soft and came in from the omnipresence, accumulating like coals. Crystal triggers from the ethers with persistence. Triggered my physical senses from different directions. I became illuminated, transformed into a spaceship. From a short space, I became spaceless. Around space, the internet could never connect into space. Cause one day the internet will disconnect, and the reconnection of the Akashic will crash it. I'm the rebellious, Aquarius rising in the galactic space. Face it, I connect with the collective, embrace it. Disconnect the matrix and replace it. Fuck the internet, I'll communicate telepathically and destroy MySpace and Facebook. Fuck it, I'm the king of hip-hop. Osiris, alchemistry. 2012, bullshit. It's deceiving.
That was Alchemistry. No, brilliant. What's the song called?
Hip Hop Decoded, Lesson 1.
Hip Hop Decoded, Lesson 1 by Alchemistry, UK's own.
Who did you have before that?
And we had The Dreamer by Common featuring Maya Angelou.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, shall we call Barbara in again? Let's continue talking.
Your favourite pastime?
Yeah, whatever.
Hi.
Greetings, Barbara.
Hello there again, Barbara.
Hi again.
Yes. So before the break, we were talking about the case of your brother, Demetrius, and also about how he's got heart problems, how you believe, and I believe as well myself, that one of the reasons that they're keeping Demetrius in is because of the privatisation of prisons. And by them keeping Demetrius in, it means your family pays £300 a month or $300 a month to the prison system.
Just for him to get better food, to be able to have at least a decent living while he's in there. You know? And this is one other thing I wanted to bring up and touch on right quick.
Yes.
You know, anyone that knows me knows that I speak the truth. I don't sit there and lie about anything. I feel like I've lived my life and old enough where I don't have to lie about anything. Mm-hmm. So I'll give you an example. I contacted a couple of churches. You know, they call them here in the United States a lot of the mega churches. And I was like, you know, I have this cause here. I truly believe, you know, in this cause, it's a worthy cause. Let me show you what the truth is concerning this, and see if I can get, you know, if you would be willing to have, you know, some church members sign his petition. Because as you know, I have a petition online for him. All you have to do is Google his name, which is Demetrius L. Favors. It's spelled Demetrius L and then Favors, Favors, and his number, which is the # 110543. If you just tag on that, it'll pull up his petition. So it's not really complicated to do that. So I contacted a few churches by phone just to see if I could get a request, if I send some forms in, to let them kind of overlook his packet, see what was going on concerning him. If we could just see about getting some church members to sign the petition. So when I called the church, I was told that we can't do that unless we check with the legal department. Now, I come from an era, and things are a lot different today than they were when I came up, that I didn't know you have to go through a legal department in order to see if you can, you know, sign a petition in order for someone to be released. But then I thought about that. I was really puzzled about that. Why has it come now in this time and age that everything is government or official or paperwork? It's not like really being about what the intent of a church is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because you have a problem informing your congregation of a decent cause in order to sign a personal petition. You won't do that, but you will pay millions of dollars to cover up these sex crimes that you're doing within the church.
For real.
You know, so that bothers me. That let me speak to legal before we can even ask our congregation if we can have them sign a petition. But I'm not going to ask my congregation about taking all these millions of dollars that you've given me to pay off this person on the side that I've been sleeping with.
Real talk.
You know, that's just me looking at it like that.
Yeah.
You know,
so
I'm, like I said, this is a battle that I'm fighting. I don't look, anything else that comes is like, you know, icing on the cake and helping my cause. Yeah. But I fight my cause because I see what society looks like today. And even in a lot of these mega churches, it's just about the money.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, everything's about that almighty dollar.
Creflo, give me some more dollar, eh?
Yeah. You know, so I as you know, back here in the United States, they've had a lot of scandals, and the majority of the scandals are, you know, a lot of pastors or clergymen having underage sex with minors, or having affairs, or having babies out of wedlock.
That's right.
But when I approach you with a real true cause, unless it's something that's sexual or you can't make money from, you want to go through your legal department? I didn't even know churches had a legal department, but I found that out that they do.
And now we know the reasons. Well, we know the reasons why.
Yeah. So, like I said, they're doing 50 million, you know, payouts to different individuals to keep that quiet. We know that the Catholic Church was moving those priests around, you know, and I'm not specifically, this across the board, you know. Sex and money always have gone hand in hand, you know, throughout time and stuff like that. But we don't even recognize true, authentic causes. So I look at it like that. You have people who can actually go to sleep and wake up and look themselves in the mirror. That quote, can you look yourself in the mirror when you're doing wrong? Yeah, I can. So you have that type of mentality right now.
It's called being a psychopath, isn't it?
Yeah, you know. And like I said, I want to know if it's okay if I go ahead and read this letter that I'm going to be presenting, because I present a packet every 2 years in my brother's case. And like I said, I've been doing this for 20 years. Yes. And like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I don't have, in fact, I've only had a high school education in itself, and also went into the military and stuff like that. But everybody around me has college degrees and stuff. But they always seem to ask me my advice, even though I don't have that college degree, so I have to consider that a compliment. My son gave me one of the highest compliments that I think anyone has given me so far while he was serving in that war. he called me on the phone. He said, Mom, I got all these accolations of awards in front of me. He said, I got awards from the Marines, I got awards from the Navies and stuff, you know, on my accomplishments and things I've done in the service. He said, Mom, he said, I'm looking at all these awards. He said, but the person's name that should actually be on these awards are yours.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
Just in his demeanor. My prayer had always been, you know, if you're going to be in the war, I want you to be someone who saves lives, not take lives. But that's, you know, that's me speaking as a mother.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing, I had not one day of worry while he was, and now listen to this. This is really, it shows you about our society. I had not one day of worry on my son's life while he was serving in that war. But yet, as a black man in the United States, I worry more about him walking the streets of the United States of America.
Wow.
Yeah, that's something else, isn't it?
Yeah, that's saying something.
Yeah. Well, I want to go ahead and I want to read this letter that, like I said, I send a packet every 2 years. I have the opportunity to send another packet January the 14th, 2013. Mm-hmm. And in that packet, I put everything together in pleading my brother's case again. And like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I don't have any celebrities behind me and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm speaking from the heart, and I'm speaking with truth. I told my brother when he asked me to go to some of his hearings, I was like, look, you know, I'm not college educated. I mean, I'm just your sister. I don't have that type of, you know, degree behind me to be able to speak the way you may want me to speak. He told me if I had to pick anybody in the world, I would pick you. I don't want anybody else that has degrees. I want somebody that's going to speak from the heart, you know. Yeah. So that gave me the courage to continue to go. And so I fly to Michigan every time he has a hearing. I have not missed one hearing. And in fact, I had did the paperwork in order for him to have an actual public hearing. And behind that public hearing, that means that it's more at the state level than the local level of the prison, because you have to do the local hearing first, and then they can see if you qualify to go to the state hearing. And at that state hearing, then the governor just has to sign off and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and let you go. So I set up and went to the local hearing. They were like, you know what? He deserves to go to the public hearing. Everything shows he should be released, and you know, and we should release him. So I go to the public hearing. In the public hearing, I brought about maybe 10 people, you know, from different walks and stuff like that, who came to speak on his behalf. And we sat there in that hearing and went over everything. And this is the part that amazes me. We sit in that hearing, and the last hour of that hearing, Demetrius was instructed on how to behave while he was free here in El Paso. Now listen to what I'm saying. They had an hour and a half conversation speaking on how he needs to carry himself. Like, in other words, you know, make sure you don't have any weapons while you're in El Paso. Make sure you don't, you know, be in a car with somebody that you shouldn't be. You know, all the things that he should, you know, be told. Yeah. So it gave the impression, if someone talks for an hour and a half on how you should act when you're free, you're under the impression they're going to free him. Mm. But after the hearing, they sent a letter back and said, we have no interest in freeing him.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
So, well, I'm going to go ahead and read this one of the letters here that he's actually writing the parole board within this packet of what I'm sending. Okay. I will leave the victim's name out of respect, because I haven't contacted her family to ask for permission and stuff like that. So I'll just put an initial in place of the person's name. But this is the letter that they will be receiving in that January packet 2013. And this is from my brother himself. He wrote this, and then he signed it, and it will be included in the packet. And the title has it as Open Letter to the Parole Board Members. And it has, my name is Demetrius L. Favors, and I have been incarcerated for a period of 46 years. I was sent to prison in 1966 at the age of 20 for causing the death of Mr. D. I have truly come to terms with what I did to Mr. D and his entire family. I fully understand and accept the responsibility for the criminal conduct that led me to my removal from society, and I have genuine remorse for the harm caused to Mr. D, who became a victim of my misdeeds, as well as his family members and others who knew him. Please believe me when I say this. The expression of words that I convey in this letter is nothing compared to what I feel concerning Mr. D. I express this with the knowledge that I could have prevented this crime from taking place had I been more mentally aware then of the harm that it would cause so many other people as well as Mr. D. Mm-hmm. There is not a day that goes by that I do not think about the crime and how it caused so much hurt and pain to society as a whole. I've acknowledged my past, my participation in criminal behavior, and my failure to acknowledge the consequences of those behaviors. I acknowledge the grave consequences for the victim, Mr. D, and the psychological harm to his family and others that cared about him. My desire and ability to return to society and live a lawful and productive life will give me the chance to become a blessing to society and not a curse. Mm-hmm. And this is with my sincerest repentance for the harm I've caused and the obligation and promise to be a better person and citizen today, tomorrow, and in the distant future, regardless of where I live. Yes, it's true, I do have a great family support now in place, and I will be able to work my way back into society with that help and by becoming able to give back to society for my past misdeeds. And in spite of Mr. D's memory, and in the spirit of Mr. D's memory, I will carry him with me for the rest of my life in being that good citizen in our society. I have become even more aware of my great failing with age, and no longer do I think or act in such a manner, and every day I live for what assistance I can give to society and its youth through my education with my associate's degree and my bachelor's degree in psychology, which I obtained while incarcerated, as how not to follow in the footsteps as that past at-risk youth that I was. I pray this open letter reaches those who truly understand my plea is real, and how I ask you now to allow me a place in society, to be of service to the community in El Paso, Texas, where I live with my sister and brother-in-law. Lastly, I pray that this plea is heard and more deeply felt by the board members. So that's one of the letters that is being sent within that packet from him. Okay. Now, when I say that he has a real opportunity to work with youth, the reason I say that is this. Because prior to my daughter attending college, she was under a program which is teen court. I don't know if you have anything like that in the UK, but basically what it is that when you have teenagers within the high school level who are misbehaving, whether they're stealing, whatever, crimes they're doing, they go to a teen court before they go to a real court. So they try to stop that behavior. So my daughter's participation in that was that she sometimes would have to, her role was she acted as an attorney for the person that she was representing at that time. I guess it gives the teens a feel of what it would like to go to a larger judicial system when you get of age. But right now you're not of age, so let me play court with you to show you what it's going to look like, hopefully to discourage you. So this is what I found when I would go with her, because I would take her around because it was at different areas of the city, and she was one of those teens that was that good student that was getting those A's, that's getting that scholarship money in the past like she did, doing like what you want your kids to do. But we have people in our lives who don't have those type of qualities, but we still love them because they're our kids or they're members of the people that we know. So this one young man that she was representing that particular day, and he had stole something out of a classmate's backpack. That's why he was there. The reason he had stole that was because he come to find out his mother is dying of cancer. So the focus was really on his mother and his mother's health and what's going on with his mother. And by him being that Hispanic kid, like I said, and the way the health system is, they didn't have a lot of money in the house and stuff like that. So I'm sitting there listening to this, and I'm like thinking to myself, this can be that turning point in that kid's life. You're either going to understand what is trying to be done here, or you're going to go on this life of crime because you've already been accused of stealing something out of the backpack. But I'm this type of individual like this. Why did you steal that out of that person's backpack. Because you're a young kid who wants some nice things. You see other people with nice things. You can't get nice things because you have this thing going on in your home where your mother's sick and dying of cancer. So the focus can't be on you and what your needs are. The focus is on her, which is understandable in that situation. So I myself, because like I say, your background experiences a lot of times is what causes you to be the type of adult you're going to be. So I went over to that young man and I told him, instead of me saying to him, you know, I'm going to help somebody who doesn't need help, I told him, you know what, if you stay out of trouble, I'm going to do such and such for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, you know, take a gift to you and your family, something for Christmas. And now Christmas was like 6 months away. I don't celebrate Christmas personally, but you know, I respect what other customs people have. I'm not one of the type of people that put myself in a box. You know, I'm very open to other people's belief systems and stuff like that. So I told him, because he was going to be monitored under this particular team program. Remember now, he's down there for stealing. So I told him, you stay out of trouble and stuff like that. I'm going to, you know, take something over to your family for Christmas. Now, give me your name. He gave me his name. Give me your address. Gave me his address. How many sisters and brothers do you have in your family? Gave me his names and ages of his sister and brother. So I took that list and I put it over to the side. It's sit in this little box that I have for 6 months. When Christmas time came, I made it a point to go across town, this is where he lived, and kept my promise of what I was going to do. Remember now, he's still under the frame of this juvenile situation because they're monitoring him. And so, you know, I give them a financial gift. You know, when I went to that door, it reminded me when I was a youth of how we don't have a lot of anything, or we don't have, you know, the advantages like other people have. And to see those young kids so happy to just get that gift was just so touching. So I just went ahead and left. A few months later, my daughter's still doing the teen court situation, and I run across that young man. And he runs up to me and he tells me, look at this suit that I have on. This is the suit that I brought from the money that you brought us from Christmas, you know, those months ago and stuff like that. And what really touched me was the fact that he had got a suit that was too big for him, but he talked about how he was going to grow into that suit. So that's the kind of stuff that, like I said, I don't just work with my brother. I also work with other inmates. I don't know if I had told you that. I've worked with other inmates. I have mothers here who have sons who are incarcerated in Texas, and because I know how to do these packets, and because I've worked in this system with my brother and stuff, have let me know, you know, my son is incarcerated. You know, I want to try to, you know, contact the parole board. So I've done packets for other mothers to try to show them certain ways to do the letter, what they need inside the pack and stuff like that, and send off. And I've had mothers that have asked me to go and visit their children. I don't even know their children, but I have, and I'm so blessed with the husband that I have. My husband and I, we've been married 37 years. And I'm so blessed with the husband I have because I'll tell my husband, I need to go up to this prison. I've never met this person, but can you drop me off at this time and pick me up at this time? Because their mother wants to go visit them. So I go to visit them and I talk to them and let them know about my brother and how you don't want to be sitting in here for 46 years. You have the chance and the opportunity to get out and do it right. So even though I don't have a college education and, you know, I don't have all those degrees or those letters behind my name, I'm about just being a real person and doing what's right, what's placed on my heart. And I'm not an individual that sits back and views a situation. I get myself involved. I put hands on and try to make the situation better for you, whether it's through a conversation or financial help or whatever I need to do. And that's one thing that comes out of my house, not only with my husband as a teacher and my son who's the medic or my daughter who's getting her PhD. We've actually, you know, I've heard in life before that people talk about this generational curse when they talk about the church and stuff. And the way that I look at it is this. It's not a curse, you just have to change your behavior. Like, because you come from a certain place don't mean you have to continue that pattern.
That's true.
And what people don't realize today is that the way I've walked in stores before, the way you treat your children as little kids, you have this demeanor that you don't have any idea that they're going to grow up and be adults one day.
Yeah.
So it's really important to know how you treat your kids, because right now you're taking care of them in a diaper, but one day they'll be taking care of you in a diaper.
Yeah,
So you have to be really aware of how you treat those little kids, because one day they will be adults and they will remember.
Yeah. That's true. So what, I mean, what can you do now then about your brother? I mean, what steps can you take in order to, and I know you're already taking steps, but what would be, I mean, from the letter that you wrote to what he wrote to the...
I'm a realistic individual. I'm just realistic, you know. I believe a lot of times when you give someone something complicated to do, they put it off. You know, it's not really important to someone unless it really affects them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm realistic about things like that. So that's why I try to make it as simple as possible. I don't try to get people to write letters and contact the governor and stuff like that. Been there, done that. All that's like in place. So newest thing that I've done, like I said, I'm about making sure the next thing I do is higher than the last thing that I did. So right now, I'm pretty much just focusing on the petition. If, like I said, I've got names from all over the world so far, and I'm like this, it's not the number that matters to me. Like, I will never be as excited as I was when the first person signed. I have 91 names now, but I will never be able to get that feeling that I got when the number one person signed.
Yeah.
Because that meant more to me than if you had 1,000 people sign. That first signature will always rest upon my heart, and them saying, you know what, we agree with you. This is a worthy cause. We understand that things happen and people get into situations, but we do believe in a true forgiveness.
That's right.
Forgiveness of saying we're going to give someone another chance.
Yeah.
Even in my brother running from that store, he gave that man a chance.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the results came out, he did give him a chance.
Yeah.
But for now not to want to give him a chance after 46 years, it's like you're under pretense of really just giving him a death sentence.
Yeah. And your brother can also help the youth especially and give them a chance by sharing his experience.
I'm glad you reminded that, because that's what I was saying about the teen court. That's why I got into the teen court story. Because this is what I want to do. Like, I had my daughter, she was involved for 2 years with that teen court program where we drove all over the city. So I see the needs of what young people need when they go into that little juvenile state court type system. And I want to be able to, which I know I can do because I do know the people, have contacts, with the people and stuff based on my daughter there. I would love, what kind of impact, if you really thought about this, what kind of impact would that make if while you were having this teen court where you got these young kids that you're trying to stop from becoming adult criminals, regardless of what the situation is of why they're there, whether it was for fighting, stealing, or whatever they were doing, to have a man stand there who's been released after 46 years to tell you the truth about what it is to be incarcerated. The ugly truth. That includes rape, murder, all the other stuff that goes in there, drugs, all that stuff going there. For me to be in an audience as a young minority and to actually see an individual that is now free after spending almost 50 years in prison, I think that would make a big impact on my life.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Yeah. Most definitely.
So that's something else that is definitely set up for him. So what we have set up is not any kind of pipe dream. We built on a space for him so that he is not a risk to society, but to have an individual with 3 valve leaks and to say, we're not going to let you see a specialist, let one of your loved ones have 3 heart valve leaks and tell them they can't go see the doctor.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's down to you being human, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
And like I said before, I have the highest regard and respect for the military. I'm a military family. I've been in the military, so I walk the walk and talk the talk. You know, I joined the military during the Vietnam era, so, you know, I'm not somebody that doesn't get to make that statement stuff.
Yeah.
But a killing is a killing, you know. If you went into the store, like I said, like my brother did, or you went on a plane in another country and he's got 1 kill or murder under his belt, and you got 20, but you get to walk the streets, and you can't give him a chance to walk the streets.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, you know, my husband, myself, and my son, we're all military. We live in a military community. We're a military family. We support the military, but I'm still being real.
Yeah.
So when people want to look at my brother and judge him, judge yourself first.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that the biggest criminals are the ones who send the people to war and who create the social environments where they cannot prosper.
Because, like you said, the bottom line is I don't have a job that can sustain my household. And so not only do I have to work if I'm the mother, but the father has to work too. You nowadays can't survive off a 1-income family.
Yeah.
Both people have to go out there and work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to struggle. And then they put in front of you that you got to have the iPad, the latest phone, to have the best car on the street. You got to have, you know, you got to have all these like
mud cons,
glamour stuff in front of your eyes and stuff like that. And let me tell you, even with my own daughter, when people ask me, well, how did you get her to be this kind of person, stuff like that, I told her the only thing I did is I treated her that I wish that the way that I would have wanted to be treated when I came up. You know, just with respect, common sense and stuff, telling her the right thing to do, and implanting in her, which means I have to take the time off and spend time with her, which for me, I walked her to school and I walked her back to school. From the time she was in kindergarten up. Until she didn't want me to walk her anymore. But I walked her to school and I walked her back to school. And what I was implanting in her, education. You want this, get it through education. You want that, get it through education. Because I told her this, they can take everything away from you, but they can't take your education away from you. And if you have that education, you can always get that back. You know, so I'm a true believer in education, even though I only have a high school diploma. You know, but the people that I support and the people around me, the gift for me is to see them going higher in their life and achieving the things they want to achieve. And that doesn't mean you have to have the most expensive car or, you know, live within your means. You know, that's the philosophy that I have. And help your fellow man, because even though that's my biological brother, I still deal with people and treat people as if they are my sisters or brothers, you know, in my life and stuff like that. I'm not a person that sits back and observes. I actually walk the talk, and I put my money where my mouth is. I know we've talked on so many different subjects. I hope it didn't sound like I was rambling.
No, definitely. In conclusion to this, everything to me just seems like it leads to money. Everything. I mean, in the case of your brother going to prison and why they won't release him, that's because of money. In the case of like people sending other people out into the war, that's for the case of money. You know, and
like I said, it's this privatized because I had just read something about in Michigan itself, which is where this is going on. They cut, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on the figures, but you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. I think they cut like $21 million when it came to the school, but they gave $45 million to the prison system.
There you go.
So like, why are you cutting education and giving all this money to the prison system in order to make, like, obviously this got to be a money-making business for you if you're going to cut the, you know, the school programs, and you're going to cut these programs and you want money to go towards prison and wars. Like, okay, all right, that's what you're showing that you're doing, you know, so. But I talk to my brother every day on the phone, and his spirits are high. He tries to do whatever little he can do while he's in prison, because by him being that porter, and like I said, he gets on the floor, he scrubs those floors, wipe those walls and stuff like that, because even in doing that, which is not anything against doing that, because somebody has to do it, he makes sure he does it to the best of his ability. So those inmates that have AIDS and are dying up there, that no one wants to touch their blood or, clean up behind him, he does go down and he does that for them. And those inmates that aren't getting packages or don't have loved ones out there that, don't have that support system that he makes sure that, he gathers, other inmates to get packages or, things together and give out to the other inmates who don't receive that and don't have that. And I also was told at one time to show you how this lifer system works, because that's, like I said, that's the big issue. You have lifers who can be released. Now, this really, will make you think. Who can be released, probably should have been released years and years ago, but they've been in there like so many years and stuff. Who they have went to and said, okay, we'll release you, but everyone around them have died, whether it's been family members, mother, father, sister, because they're so old, who have declined to be released because there's nothing out there for them. Okay. That's how long they've been sitting in there. You have people sitting in there that's on wheelchairs that are old that, won't leave because there's nowhere for them to go because they died all out, the people that were back home. So they just stay up there. Wow. And the thing about it, the lifer issue, these are people who we're talking about went in the 60s and stuff. I'm talking about like the 60s and things like that. Under that kind of like era that we had where, the judges just threw out these sentences, the way that they did and stuff like that. And in today's society and time, that would be unheard of for that to occur. And like I said, to be dying in a wheelchair, sitting in a wheelchair, and then a statement was even made. They've actually taken inmates to hearings that have actually been on a gurney, like those flat rolling gurneys, because their health was so deteriorated and they weren't going to survive, but yet you rolled them to a hearing and there was no one there to basically say, we'll take them home. And my whole cause and what I'm doing for my brother is that I don't want to have to go up there and bring a body back. Yeah. Of course. And I feel that if you allowed him to get that bachelor's degree, then you should allow him to be released. Yeah. Because you didn't do anything but take the taxpayers' money and then do what with it? Yeah. But like I said, I definitely want it to be understood. He takes definitely responsibility, and I hope the letter conveys that. Yeah. And the only thing that I'm just asking the viewers is to basically just sign this petition, because in this kind of society, there's really, people have their minds made up of what they're going to do. Yeah. If they're going to keep him, no matter what I do, they're going to still keep him. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a celebrity. I don't have that behind me. The only thing I have right now is for me to go and stand in front of them and give them the truth, and for them not to want to give me a response or an answer. I can't even control that. So that's why I have the petition. The petition basically for me shows that there's a wide range of individuals who believe he should have a second chance. Okay. And that's why I say it's just to Google his name, Demetrius L. Favors, and it's a #110543, and just sign off on his petition, because I will be printing that petition out for January the 13th, or January the 14th, 2013, and then I will send that packet up. Okay. And what will happen is this. Once I send the packet up, they'll do two things. They'll either send me the packet right back, well, not send the packet back, but they'll keep the packet. They'll send me a letter right back, and they'll say, we're not interested in this. Come back to us in 2 years. Okay. Or they'll say, okay, we do have an interest in this, and we'll work on it for maybe 2 or 3 years, and then we'll put him up to that hearing again and see if the governor will sign off to let him have his freedom. Okay. So even in me putting this packet in right now in 2013, the last time I put a packet in for him, which allowed him to go to the hearing in order for the governor to look at it, which the governor denied, that was a 3-year process.
They do long it out, don't they?
Yeah.
From beginning to end. Now, this January 14th, 2013 packet, when I put that in, just the process in itself may take 2 years, which would allow him to be released in 2015. Mm-hmm. So when you're desperate for a personal release, you're willing to go through that process.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's where I am right now. There's nothing anyone can do, really, if you think about it, if that's the way they have it set up and that's the way they're doing, because I can't pay anybody off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I don't have that celebrity connection. But I do know this. The people's voice eventually do get heard.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So for me, with my brother, in signing the petition, that in itself is what I'm only asking people to do. I'm not asking them to write any letters. I'm not asking them to contact the governor. I'm just basically asking them to sign his petition. Yeah. And that's basically it. And that's one of the things that I'm going to submit. Because, mark my words, that parole board and that governor, they already know he should be released.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Right. And so for me, I'm the type of individual, I'm not going to ask people to follow me into something that I know right now is not working fairly like it should be.
Yeah.
I for myself to deal with it, and then whatever assistance that I ask you, like I say, is icing on the cake. For me, the petition is icing on the cake and trying to do what I'm trying to do. Right. But I would dare even want to bring people in to deal with that kind of like confusion or back and forth that I'm receiving. Yeah.
What we'll do, we'll put the on the YouTube link because the show's recorded. We'll put it in the description box, and we'll also put it up on Facebook as well.
We'll share it definitely, and you've definitely got my signature for that.
I definitely appreciate that. And this is one thing I want to make sure I leave. This is not to forget about that victim. That was an innocent man in that store.
Of course not.
We're quite aware of that. And like you said, he had family and stuff like that. But it's hard for me to believe, but I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for you, anyone else, or how they would think that. I don't think a victim who has been gone for almost 50 years would want his legacy remembered on just being a crime victim compared to having a scholarship and a person going out and preventing other people from being in that same situation.
Yeah, of course.
You know, so we just want to honor the victim like that. We've given an apology to the family. Mm-hmm. We've set up the scholarship. Someone's actually benefiting from that scholarship. We want to continue the scholarship. But I think that $300 a month could go better to another youth who could receive that, who is at risk and doesn't have that positive family environment. Mm. So I want to thank you again, both of you.
No, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for coming on the show and sharing.
Please, Barbara, I'm going to keep in touch with you so that you can keep me updated on your brother's case, and we can keep the viewers updated as well. Definitely.
Thank you. And like I said, you know, my words were not to offend, but to give my truth. And my truth may not be shown at the others, but that's the only thing I know is how to give my truth and stuff. But, you know, I send my blessings out to all your listening viewers, and I just pray for them and their family to have a good following year that's getting ready to come up.
Yes. Peace and blessings to you, Barbara.
Thank you very much, Barbara. And tune in every Sunday night to our show, and every Wednesday evening as well. At this time, of course, because obviously...
No, honestly, Barbara, we're going to keep in touch with you because I really want to see, especially after January the 14th, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's when we'll find out how it all goes. So we'll definitely keep in touch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you so much.
No, thank you, definitely. So,
peace and blessings, sister.
Peace and blessings. Bye, Barbara.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Wow, so, yes, people, if you want to sign the petition, we'll be sending out links on YouTube later on after we upload this show. But the petition, all you have to do is type in Google Demetrius L. Favors. So that's Demetrius L. Favors, FAVORS, and then it's hashtag 110543. So hashtag 110543 and sign the petition there. I'm definitely signing that petition. But talking to Barbara, it just definitely shows that everything is always connected to money.
Yeah.
And like and she's actually given me a fuller understanding of the privatisation of prisons and why they're being privatised, and not just in the United States of America, but in the United Kingdom as well.
That's right. It's just about money, innit? And
it is about money, and like she said, that she is right. That $300 could definitely go to a worthier cause, to a youth who could use it.
They create a dysfunctional society so they can put these dysfunctional people who they've created in the first place, put them in prison to make more money from them. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Absolutely ridiculous.
Yes. And I mean, Demetrius, he's a different man from when he was 20. From now, he's a different man, and he knows and he acknowledges what he did, and my prayers go out to the victim, and like she said, we don't want this victim's death to be remembered in a victim of crime, but a scholarship was taken out in his name, isn't it, in memory of him. So let's honour that memory. Most definitely.
Okay, we're gonna go to a quick
break and then say bye.
As usual, yeah.
This time I didn't actually rush it, did I?
Anyway.
All right then, let's get to the break. That was Ken Starr, Sonali and Apollo Brown, Home Come First. What do you think the listeners didn't hear that? Okay, yeah, okay. Just for those who didn't hear that, that was Ken Starr, Finale, and Apollo Brown, Home Come Fast. So yeah, today on the show, for those who just tuned in, you kind of know quite well. We were talking about the justice system, and we had Barbara Bradley on the show talking about her brother and how he's in prison. He's been in prison for
46 years.
46 years. What had happened was her brother went into a shoe store, stole some money, and then 3 blocks away it ended up in an altercation, and unfortunately gunshots were fired and a victim died. Her brother's been in prison for 46 years. He's acknowledged, he definitely takes responsibility for the murder, and just now for his freedom, because he's a changed man. He's fully rehabilitated. He's got a bachelor's degree, which is basically wasted if he can't go out and use it. And he's not really a threat to society anymore.
And they're keeping him in there?
And one of the reasons that they're keeping him is because they've basically privatised the prisons. And Barbara's family, they pay $300 a month for him to have better food and better conditions. And I mean, $300 a month, if you do that after a year, after 4 years, after 5 years, it comes up to a lot of money.
And more than one prisoner.
Yeah, and more than one prisoner.
You know that there's prisoners in the prison system who have families who care for their health, so they're going to pay that sort of money to keep them healthy.
So they're making money off of that. That's why they keep these prisoners in. So there's a petition online for those of you. I mean, when we upload the video on YouTube, you can see it. But if you type in Google Demetrius L. Favors, which is DEMETRIUSL.FAVORS, #110543, and sign the petition if you believe that this is a worthy cause.
We'll put it in the link below.
Yes, definitely. And I definitely believe it's a worthy cause, and they've definitely got my signature.
Because he can go out there and help the disadvantaged young kids out there who are on that path to destruction.
And help prevent the youth from committing these crimes and stuff, because you know, like Barbara said, he can go and talk to these youth and tell them about the prison system and be real and talk about the rapes that happen in the prisons and the...
Because I believe, even here, with people who come out of prisons who are rehabilitated, who have been in prisons and so forth, if it's for a short time or a long time, are good people to go into schools and to teach them about...
Because they're really going to...
Because they've lived it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But what's happened there is, as in America and other places, they've been given a criminal record and they can't find work.
Yes.
And they won't be allowed to go into the schools because of their criminal record, and to do what they really set out to do, because obviously they've done a crime and they've rehabilitated, so they can give back.
Yeah, as long as they don't pose a threat to society,
exactly,
then I don't see a problem with it, and I don't think Demetrius poses a threat to society at all.
Society, or the system in place, the government don't want people to know the truth.
But let's be honest, they've got their agenda of why
people,
they keep him, obviously, and it is money.
From people who's been there.
Everything leads to money at the end of the day. That's just something for the listeners and all you guys to think about.
And it's all about money, unfortunately.
Yes.
It's horrible, isn't it? We need a change.
Quick.
Need a change.
But,
so our children do not get incarcerated and have to go out there and commit crime and so forth.
Definitely.
Anyway.
I guess that's a wrap for tonight.
Yeah, but who we got on in the coming weeks?
On Wednesday, what do we have?
On Wednesday we have Santos Bonacci. His YouTube channel is Mr. Astrotheology.
Mr. Astrotheology.
Okay. Yes.
So Santos Bonacci and his YouTube is Mr. Astrotheology.
Yeah. He's got some powerful lectures.
Okay.
Basically on astrotheology and syncretism.
And who do we have on Sunday?
Next Sunday we have Lennon Honor back in the house.
Lennon Honor, you know. Okay, definitely. Yeah. I'm sure my sister will be happy about that one.
Yeah.
So.
And the following Wednesday we go down under yet again, because Santos Bonacci is from Australia.
Okay.
And we go down under again. We have Dee Smith and Danny Whitten.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, people. For that.
Stay tuned. So we go we stay stateside. for next Sunday, and we go down under for the next 2 Wednesdays. So it'd be good.
Okay.
Very informative, lots of information. So everybody get their pens and pads out and get taking notes. So some interesting guests coming on the show.
Okay.
As always, we always have interesting and
definitely
brilliant guests on the Innervibe show on Essence Radio
with Brother Haru and Roslyn Blue.
So we're going to sign out now.
Yeah, so tap people.
Thank you for tuning in.
Big up yourselves and big shout out to Barbara.
Yeah, big shout out to Barbara.
And shout out to Sunsir Shakur Ali. I don't know his name. I can't say it. It's like really long.
Okay, I think he knows what you mean. Anyway.
Yeah, but big up to him because he's the one who gave me the connection. So definitely, thank you everyone.
Yeah, big shout out to Mr. Lee, MC Justice, Kevin Technical Man,
Music of the Spheres.
Yeah.
Hope that.
Mary Jane. Who else can we give a shout out to? Neymar. Yeah. My family. Boss Man. Mr. Lee.
Shaq. Illustrator.
Yeah. The list is endless, really, isn't it? Yeah.
But hotep everyone, I'm out.
Yeah. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you. In fact, Wednesday, before you rush off, like a Russian as usual.
Okay.
We might be going a bit later, probably 8 o'clock rather than 7 o'clock because of the time difference in Australia. Because Santos is going to be up bright and early at 6 o'clock in the morning, so we may go just that hour later.
Keep on
checking on Facebook and YouTube
and
and so forth. So so we'll see you on the other side.
Peace out. I'm out.
Peace out.
The Innervibe Show on Essence Radio. This is Yas Alexander. That's all.
makes me